Hi class, welcome to warm-up 3. So warm-up 3 is going to be a bouncy ball exercise that's going to be timed to a boing, boing, boing sound effect. So the bouncy ball exercise is really classic. It's in pretty much every animation class, and there's a couple of reasons for this. So there are a lot of really good principles in the bouncy ball exercise. The first is squash and stretch. So a bouncy ball is elastic, which means when it hits the ground, it's going to deform a little bit when it hits the ground and then again when it's flying away. Another thing is that bouncy balls start sort of slow and then get faster as they get closer to the ground, slowing down again as they reach the top of their arcs. So you'll have to learn about changing the distance between your drawings to create this illusion of speed. And finally, bouncy balls fall in arcs. So this is another important principle in animation. So because our whole project 3 is going to be sound forward, so you're going to start with the sound for the rest of your project, we're going to start with this exercise with our sounds first. So go ahead and pull out your recording device. In my case, it's a phone with the voice memo app. And I'm going to just hit record and say boing, boing, boing. And I'm going to go ahead and send that to my computer, and I'll meet you over on Adobe Animate. Okay, so I'm going to hit a new file. And I want to do a 1920 by 1080 frame with, 1920 by 1080 canvas at 12 frames per second. I hit create. If your timeline is at the bottom, that's totally fine. You can drag and drop your timelines wherever you want. I just have it at the top today, but it's not important. Come on, there we go. All right. Now I'm going to import the sound that I just recorded. So I'm going to go to File, Import, Import to Stage. And I'm going to hit boing.wave. If you're having a hard time getting your sound to import, try using a wave instead of an MP3. It works a little bit better. And it's less lossy. Okay, so it looks like nothing happened, but actually your sound is right here. So what you're going to have to do is insert some blank keyframes, or just some frames, to get that to be visible all the way through. So let's go all the way to the end here. Okay, so I got to the end, and I'm going to play this for you.
Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing.
Okay, so that's fine. Now you'll notice that when I scrubbed past this, it played. That might not be happening for you. So if that's not happening for you, click on your sound file here, then go over to your properties and the frame panel. Then go down to sync here and make sure it's set to stream. So it's default is event, but let's set it to stream. The next thing I want to do is I don't want all of these. I just want these first 3. So if you have more than you want, just go ahead and click on where you want to cut it, right click, then say split audio. And you can delete those remaining frames by selecting them all, right-clicking, and saying remove frames. So I missed a few here. Okay, so I have this.
Boing, boing, boing.
Great. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to name this layer sound, and I am going to lock it. Then I'm going to make 2 layers above that. I'm going to name one of them background and the other one ball. I'm going to go to my background layer, and I'm going to just change this to fit in window. And I'm going to just draw a really, really basic ground plane here. So I'll pick like a dark green color for my ground plane. And a nice like pale yellow, or actually maybe not quite this pale. Maybe something like this for my top. And that's pretty satisfying. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to lock this background layer. So I'm going to time my animation so that each of these boings, my ball is bouncing, right? So I'm afraid that this might be a little bit too long, so I'm actually going to cut this down just a little bit. I'm going to split my audio there. I'm going to remove these frames here. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a ball here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the oval tool. Oop. Sorry. I'm going to make this oval by dragging and hold shift to make sure it's a perfect oval. And you can move this back up over here. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to turn this into a symbol. So Adobe Animate thinks of what we've been doing so far as shapes, which is great for just having something pretty on the screen. But if we modify this and turn it into a symbol, a graphic symbol to be precise, and call this ball, sorry, I've done this once before. This will now, Adobe Animate will now think of this as an object you are animating and will keep track of it across several frames. So now I have this here, and I want to go here to where my boing sound starts, and I'm going to put a blank frame here. So I'm going to put a blank frame there. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, or I'm sorry, I'm going to actually make it a duplicate frame. And I'm going to take this down here, and I'm going to, so F6 for a duplicate frame. And I'm going to hit Q, I'm going to pull it out, squash it down, and make it go onto the ground plane. So now you'll see, I'm going to turn my onion skins on here. I'm going to make sure that the range covers both, and you can see my ball at the top of its range and at the bottom of its range. So now we just need to fill in all of these, all of the little balls in between there. So let's go ahead and start at the beginning and hit F6, and we'll just take it down a little bit. And we'll hit F6 again and move it down. Oops. Move it down a little bit, maybe like this, and F6 again, and now it's going to start getting a little bit faster, and hit F6 again, and it's going to get a little bit faster still, and F6 again, and it's going to get a little faster still, and then F6 again, and it's going to get, a little bit faster. And I think I may have gotten a little bit ahead of myself. So I'm going to go over here to this frame. I'm going to scooch it over this way. And I have this extra little frame I have to deal with. So I want to take this gap and actually put it at the beginning here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit F6 here, or I'm sorry, F. I'm going to add a frame hold here. Control Z. Add a frame there, and I will remove the frame here. Okay, so let's make sure I like that. I kind of think this needs to be a little bit more arcing, so I'm just gonna move my arc around a little bit so that I really like it. Okay, let's turn onion skin off there. Let's see if that looks good.
Boing.
Okay, So let's turn onion skin back on, and now I'm going to go all the way to the end here. And I'm going to hit F6 again. Whoops. I'm going to click that and hit F6. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over here. So your arc is going to go about halfway up again. It's not going to reach the same full height. And because it's not falling from as high, it's not going to get quite as deformed the second time around. So we're going to make it just a little bit wider than it was before. Now I just need to fill these in again. So I'm going to go to about halfway, or I'll go straight ahead. I'll move my range again so I like it, so I can see. And I'm going to hit F6. And I'm going to take this and move it and just get it moving kind of quickly away. I still want it to be a little bit deformed, but not as much. And hit F6. So I think I may not have given myself quite enough room here. So I'm going to give myself a little more room. And go back here. And hit F6. Move that up a bit more. Hit F6. F6. 6. Sorry. 6. And unfortunately, I think I am not going to make it here. So I think what I'll do, instead of really contorting this arc, is I'm actually going to remove a little bit of my sound here. So I'm going to go ahead and split my audio and split it in 2 places. Sorry, I'm recovering from getting sick. Split my audio again and remove these frames. And I'm going to scooch this keyframe back to here. Let's see how that looks.
Boing, boing, boing.
I'm going to remove just a little bit more, so I'll split my audio here as well. And remove these frames.
Boing, boing.
Turn this off.
Boing, boing, boing. Boing.
Maybe a little. No, I got a little ahead of myself.
Boing, boing, boing.
Okay, I think that will work. And now I'm going to finish this last little arc here. So let's turn our onion skins back on. Let's see. Do we have enough room? don't think we have quite enough room for the bouncy ball to stay on the screen. So I'll just animate this straight ahead, meaning I'll just move my ball until it goes off screen. So I'll go ahead and hit F6. Move this. Oops. Control and V. Go ahead and go up here and hit F6. And again, this is going to be moving a little bit faster away, but it's slowing down overall as well. Let's make it a little bit more round. Let's hit F6. Make it all the way around. Hit F6. F6 again. And F6 again. And F6 again. Uh-oh, I've lost a little bit of my audio here. Let's add some blank keyframes. Okay. And let's see what that looks like. I'm going to turn my onion skin off.
Boing, boing.
Great. So I'm going to clean this up and just get rid of the keyframes I don't need. So I'll highlight those, right click, remove keyframes. Highlight these, right click, remove keyframes.
Boing.
And let's see.
Boing, boing.
I think I want to, I'll just add one more frame here for everyone. So this one I'll hit F6 and just move it all the way off the screen. And yeah,
Boing.
let's see.
Boing, boing.
All right, so final thing that I want to show you about symbols is that, let's go over here to our library. Let me remove this one because it's a little confusing. If you double click on a symbol, you'll open it up in its own editor. And any changes you make to this symbol in here will be applied to the entire project on the back end. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my brush. I'm going to hit white. I'm going to just make a little highlight there. Then I'll go back to my project here with this arrow. And you can see that this has now been applied to the entire animation. So I'm going to put a loop in here so you can see what I'm talking about.
Boing, boing. Boing, boing. Boing, boing. Boing, boing.
There you go. So that's the sound synchronized bouncing ball. Once you have this, let's go ahead and export it. So File, Export, and we're going to go ahead, Export Video Media. We're going to go ahead and export the entire movie. I like YouTube 1080p. I'm going to output this as bouncy swan bouncy ball, and hit save. Then I'll go ahead and export it, and you can turn that in for credit. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.